Women of Reddit, what do you think would be the worst thing about being a man? Relationships, getting a date with a woman, finding a partner, or even just hooking up with a woman. It all seems like bullshit for men. Men are expected to initiate the conversation most of the time. And yet, I've known women who will accept dates with men they have zero interest in just to get a free meal out of it. I've known women who want men to approach them, but if the man is unattractive to her, she calls them creepy or mocks them for it. Sure, not all women are like this, but you know what happens when I approach a man who isn't interested in me? He says no, thank you. I could easily get a one-night stand if I wanted to. Yeah, if people know about it I might be called demeaning things or people trying to shame me for it. But I just think about a time a man approaches a woman in an elevator, gets turned down, and the next day there are news articles about how men shouldn't make women uncomfortable and that conferences need to make an effort to make safe spaces for women. Men are shamed for their sexuality and no one gives a F. A man who is unhappy in a relationship because he doesn't get to have sex as often as he would like gets to hear how no one owes you intimacy. Up and down. He's seen as a piece of poop for even considering leaving the relationship for it. But if I am unhappy in a relationship for any reason, people will happily back me or take my side, including if it is about intimacy. While there are people who will shame women in their sexuality, there are just as many people who will try to empower women for being intimate. Men? Nah, you're all pigs, potential rapists, creeps, and predators. The double standard with parenthood. This is going into the so route and relates to hookups. A woman gets pregnant and doesn't want to have a baby. She can get an abortion. She can give the child up for adoption. And in some states she can do the adoption route or even abandonment without the man's permission. And a woman who gets an abortion or adoption, well, her body is her choice. But what about the man? A woman gets pregnant and he doesn't want to have the baby. He's a deadbeat. If she keeps the baby, your money is tied to her and the child for years and you're a deadbeat for even considering anything different. Not only that, but if a man doesn't want to support a kid, then don't have intimacy, is often said in discussions about this, even though the same effing line is used against women by pro-lifers. It's a gross double standard and a dangerous one, making sex and relationships more tricky for men. It doesn't help that women have a huge variety of contraceptive options available to them and men only have one that isn't permanent. Marriage is tricky for men. With how easy it is for a woman to leave a marriage and claim a bunch of assets, sometimes get alimony, and take the children. Why are men risking marriage? Yes, not every marriage is so clear-cut and sometimes the woman is making sacrifices herself which could make it difficult for her to get back onto her feet after a divorce. But come on, women aren't helpless delicate flowers anymore. Women aren't solely reliant on their husbands and will be devastated after a divorce. At least not in the United States. And I acknowledge this as someone who is married to a man. Lack of support for those who end up in abusive relationships. Abuse can come from either intimacy. Men can be intimately abused too. But there are so few options out there for men who need help in addition to people often saying or joking about how he probably deserved it or that he's being weak.